All right, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hallelujah. 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 Yah, you are awesome. The Shamayim declares your esteem, and there is none like unto you. We will have no other mighty ones before you. We look to the hills from whence our help comes. We seek your face. We search out your ineffable name. We delight in obedience to you. We come on Yom Shabbat at the appointed time with an air of expectation to receive from you that which you have for us in your Torah, according to your will, your way, and your word. We come to give you praise. We come to learn of your ways. We come to seek forgiveness. Forgive us, we pray, for where we have fallen short, missed the mark, and sinned against you with our lips or in our thoughts. We come standing in the need of prayer on today, Yom Shabbat. Give us a clean heart, we pray, as we seek to draw nigh unto you. We know that you said you will draw nigh unto us, and in order for that to happen, we must have a clean heart and a pure heart. So we desire fellowship with you. We desire to be in your presence. Let your Ruach HaKodesh have your way amongst your people on today. Move in, through, and among us. Reveal your intentions to us. Reveal your character to us. Reveal your truth to us. And allow us discernment in all matters. Allow us to discern between good, Todah, and evil. Allow us to discern the way that we should go, to the right, to the left, or to stand still and wait to see your Yeshua. Allow us to humble ourselves before you and delight in you. We ask all these things on today, on Yom Shabbat, and we'll be careful and sure to give you all of the esteem. Hallelujah.
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 At this time, we would ask the Kohe Elishabeth to come and recite the Shema.
Amalek Naaman,
Amalek Naaman,
Shema Yisrael,
Shema Yisrael,
Yahuwah Eloheinu,
Yehovah Eloheinu,
Yahuwah Echad,
Yehovah Echad,
Baruch Shem Kabod,
Baruch Shem Kavod,
Malkuto,
Malkuto,
Leolam,
Leolam,
Ued,
Ued,
Uahapta,
Uahapta,
Et Yahuwah,
Et Yehovah,
Alehecha,
Elehecha,
Bakal,
Bakal,
Lababka,
Lababka,
Ubakal,
Ubakal,
Nabshaka,
Nabshakah,
Ubakal,
Ubakal,
Meodeka,
Meodekah,
Uhayu,
Rahayu,
Debəarim,
Debəarim,
Ha'ele,
Ha'ele,
Asher,
Asher,
Anoki,
Anoki,
Metnuka,
Mezukah,
Hayom,
Hayom,
Alababaka,
Alababaka,
Ushi Nantam,
Ushi Nantam,
Labaneka,
Labinaka,
Udi Barta,
Udi Barta,
Bam,
Bam,
Bashiptaka,
Bashiptika,
Babektika,
Babektika,
Ubelektika,
Ubalektika,
Baderek,
Balderek,
Upshaptaka,
Ushabaka,
Ukumika,
Ukumaka,
Ukshartam,
Ukshartam,
Leot,
Leot,
Al Yadika,
Al-Yadaka,
Uhayu,
Uhayu,
Letotafot,
Letotafot,
Bain,
Bain,
Enika,
Enika,
Uktaptam,
Uktaptam,
Al Mezuzot,
Al-Mazuzot,
Betika,
Bedeka,
Ubisharika.
Ubisharika.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Sing to Elohim, sing praises to his name. Extol him that rides on the Shamayim by his name, Yah, and rejoice before him. Rejoice before him. Sing to Elohim, sing praises to his name. Extol him that rides upon the Shamayim by his name, Yah, and rejoice before him. Sing to Elohim, sing praises to his name. Extol him that rides upon the Shamayim by his name, Yah, and rejoice before him. Sing to Elohim, praises to his name. Extol him that rides on the Shamayim by his name, Yah, and rejoice before him. Oh, sing to Elohim, sing praises to his name, and extol him that rides upon the Shamayim by his name, Yah, and rejoice before him. Let Elohim arise, let his enemies be scattered. Let them also that hate him flee before him. The smoke is driven away, so drive them away, as wax melts before the fire. So let the wicked perish at the presence of Elohim, but let the righteous be glad, and let them rejoice before Elohim. Yea, let them exceedingly rejoice. Yea, let them exceedingly rejoice. Hallelujah. We will praise you, our God. We will praise you. We will praise you and rejoice before you. We will praise you. I will praise you with all that is within me. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Give him a hand clap of praise. He is worthy. He is worthy of all of our praise. He is worthy. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. It's an awesome thing to meet with Abia at the appointed time. It's an awesome thing and a special thing. And so we come desiring to learn more of him and sing his praises. That was an excerpt from Tehillim 68, which I will now read in its entirety. Let Elohim arise, let his enemies be scattered. Let them also that hate him flee before him. As smoke is driven away, so drive them away. As wax melts before the fire, so let the wicked perish at the presence of Elohim. But let the righteous be glad, let them rejoice before Elohim. Yea, let them exceedingly rejoice. Sing unto Elohim, sing praises unto his name. Extol him that rides upon the Shamayim by his name, Yah, and rejoice before him. A father of the fatherless and a judge of the widows is Elohim in his holy habitation. Elohim sets the solitary in families. He brings out those which are bound with chains, but the rebellious dwell in a dry land. O Elohim, when you went forth before your people, when you went forth before your people, when you did march through the wilderness, Selah, the earth shook and the heavens also dropped at the presence of Elohim. Even Sinai itself was moved at the presence of Elohim, the Elohim of YehezqЄl. You, O Elohim, did send a plentiful rain, wherefore you did confirm your inheritance when it was weary. Your assembly has dwelt therein. You, O Elohim, have prepared of your goodness for the poor. Adonai gave the word. Great was the company of those that published it. Kings of armies did flee apace, and she that tarried at home divided the spoil. Though ye are lying among the pots, yet shall ye be as the wings of a dove, covered with silver, and her 5 feathers with yellow gold. When El Shaddai scattered kings in it, it was white as the snow in Salmah. The hill of Elohim is as the hill of Bashan, a high hill as the hill of Bashan. Why leap ye, ye high hills? This is the hill which Elohim desires to dwell in, yea. Yah will dwell in it forever. The chariots of Elohim are 20,000, even thousands of Kodashim. Even Adonai is among them, as in Sinai, in the holy Kodesh place. You have ascended on high, and you have led captivity captive. You have received gifts for men, yea, for the rebellious also, that Yah Elohim might dwell among them. Blessed be Adonai, who daily loads us with the benefits, even the end of our Yeshua, Selah. He that is our Elohim is the El and unto Yah Adonai belong the issues from death. But Elohim shall wound the head of his enemies, and the hairy scalp of such a one as goes on still in his transgressions. Adonai said, I will bring again from Bashan. I will bring my people again from the depths of the sea, that your foot may be dipped in the blood of your enemies, that the tongue of your dogs in the same. They have seen your goings, O Elohim, even thy goings of my ale, my king, in the sanctuary. The singers went before, the players on the instruments followed after. Among them were the damsels playing with timbrels. Barak ye Elohim in the assemblies, even the Adonai from the fountain of Israel. There is little Ben-Hamim with their ruler, the princes of Yehuda and their council, the princes of Zebulun and the princes of Naphtali. Your Elohim has commanded your strength. Strengthen, O Elohim, that which you have wrought for us. Because of your temple at Jerusalem shall kings bring presents unto you. Rebuke the company of spearmen, the multitude of bulls, with the calves of the people, till everyone submit himself with pieces of silver. Scatter you the people that delight in war. Princes shall come out of Mizraim, Cush, shall spoon stretch out her hands unto Elohim. Sing unto Elohim, you kingdoms of the Eretz. Oh, sing praises unto Adonai. Selah, to him that rides upon the heaven of the heavens, which were of old. Lo, he sends out his voice, that a mighty voice. Ascribe ye strength unto Elohim. His excellency is over Yisrael, and his strength is in the clouds. O Elohim, you are terrible out of your Todah places. The El of Yisrael is he that gives strength and power unto his people. Blessed be Elohim. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I have read in your hearing Tehillim 68 in its entirety. We are now about to go into the teaching portion of our service. Todah.
Testament 2. Once again, Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is good to see everybody here. Good to be at this point, a day of our rest, a day that we give esteem to the Most High for all he's done, all he's doing, all that he will do in our lives. We will be in Ezekiel, the 8th chapter and the 9th chapter today. Our people have had a long history of struggling in multiple areas. As we study Ezekiel and as I was studying the 8th chapter, I began to see a parallel with where they were at then and where we are at now. Some of the same struggles existed. Some of the same issues existed. And, we've heard over and over again how there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new in the way our people have responded and acted. And we have to situate ourselves where we are a remnant. You're going to see that is not a large number. Ezekiel got frustrated when he saw the amount that were being taken out, because the remnant was going to be left, but there were so many that would pay the price, so many that would suffer, so many that would fall up under judgment, that it caught him off guard. And I think that it often catches us off guard because we think the masses, we have a tendency to think that the masses are the ones that are correct. The masses have an understanding. How could it be that so many men, educated and well-studied, can be wrong and go off in the wrong direction? But only the Most High knows the heart of man. Only the Most High knows the intention of man. And he said that he would be a consuming fire. So he would look into the very aspect of who we are and why we do what we do. So we often have to challenge that. The word must have precedent in our life over how comfortable we are. It must have precedent over our lives as to what we do or what we do not do. Okay. But when we find ourselves going in the wrong direction, understand that we're not going to escape judgment if we choose to stay there. Okay. When we know to do right, we must do right. Okay. We cannot afford to stay in mess. We cannot afford to become stagnant. None of us want to drink stagnated water. Water that has become putrid, defiled. Okay. So we must continue to move forward. We must continue to grow, continue to allow the Most High to bring us to the point of understanding that he has for us, a point of esteem that he desires to have in his people. And if only a handful, if only a few are there, then so be it. Mm-hmm. But to follow the masses because it's comfortable, follow the masses because it's what everybody else is doing, then we put ourselves in a very, very peculiar situation. Mm-hmm. And so we have to be careful. Ezekiel, the 8th chapter, starting at the first verse.
Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 1. And it came to be in the 6th year, in the 6th month, on the 5th of the new moon, as I sat in my house with the elders of Yehudah, sitting before me, that the hand of the master Jehovah fell upon me there. So
Ezekiel is, sitting in a room with elders. They're having a conversation. They're having they're sitting and talking about the word, talking of, going over Torah and all the things that the Most High would desire for them to do and to live, to gain understanding. One of the things that we have to understand, we will forever be studying. We will forever be seeking him out, trying to gain understanding. Just because you got a few years under your belt, 10, 20, 30 years under your belt, doesn't mean that you know it all. Doesn't mean that you have all of the information. Okay. We must continue to grow and continue to strive to gain understanding. And so Ezekiel was in his home, in his place where he had gathered many elders together to go over the word, to study. the hand of the Most High fell upon him.
Verse 2. And I looked and saw a likeness, the likeness like the appearance of fire. From his waist and downward, the appearance was like fire, and from his waist and upward, the appearance of brightness like glowing metal.
He's seeing the throne, he's seeing, looking up, and he's seeing this likeness, understanding that the Most High is about to speak to him, about to reveal some things to him, about to show him some things. Continue.
And he stretched out the form of a hand and took me by a lock of my hair, and the Ruach lifted me up between the earth and the heavens, and brought me in visions of Elohim to Yerushalayim, to the door of the north gate of the inner court, where the seat of the image of jealousy was, which causes jealousy.
Took him by the lock of the hair. He had to have some big locks to do that. He couldn't just get a little lock and pick him up. I mean, his locks had to be substantial, had to be, of some size to be able to pick him up by the lock of his hair. But what he saw, he said that he took him to that inner court, and they're sitting on that seat, the image of jealousy that brought about jealousy. We know the scriptures tell us that Elohim is a jealous. Let's go to Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter. Deďarim, 32nd chapter. Go to the 16th verse.
Deďarim 32, verse 16. They moved him to jealousy with foreign matters. With abominations, they provoked him.
With foreign matters, they brought him to jealousy. With foreign matters. Are we participating in foreign matters that bring the Most High to jealousy? We are a set-apart people. We must remain set apart.
That's right.
To bring matters or things before him that are foreign are going to cause him jealousy.
Okay.
We must be careful of how what we're trying to do and how we're trying to establish what it is that we do. Are we mixing and mingling with the nations? That would be foreign matter.
Okay.
Are we bringing in understanding and knowledge from the nations? That would be foreign matter.
Okay.
That would be that defiled bread that we talked about in the earlier chapter. Heated up, cooked with human dung. Understand that when the nations began to try to give us information, try to teach us, try to lead us, then we have a mixture, a mixed loaf that is being cooked with human defilement. And so we must stray away, move away from that and not pay attention. Those are mixed matters that bring the Most High to jealousy. Verse 21.
Verse 21. They made me jealous by what is not El. They provoked me with their worthless matters. But I make them jealous by those who are no people. I provoke them with a foolish nation.
So they made me jealous by what was not of what is not of El. Where are we getting our information? Where are we getting our understanding from? How are we going about? What are we doing? Are we participating? Are we trying to walk hand in hand with the nations and not be set apart? If so, then he is going to provoke us with a foolish people, because he's going to allow us to become foolish with the nations around about us, doing foolish things, going after things that are not of the Most High, getting caught up in abominations. We must remain a set apart people. There's nobody else that has been given his word, given his laws, statutes, commandments, and his right ruling.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that they don't apply to everybody,
Okay.
but he has called us to be priests,
Okay.
calls us to be kings.
Okay.
And so we're not to put ourselves in subject or under the rule or guidance of the nations round about because they have not been given what the Most High has given us.
Okay.
But how foolish it is that when we stray away, when we go after other mighty ones, when we begin to do things that are not of the Most High. Then he turns us over to that very foolishness that we may be judged with the rest of the nations round about. Continue. Going back to Ezekiel.
Ezekiel 8, verse 4. And see, the esteem of the Elohim of Yisrael was there, like the vision that I saw in the plain.
Now I've seen the esteem of Elohim. It was there. It was in the midst. As I'm seeing these mixed matters, as I'm seeing the things that are going on that is causing the Most High to be jealous, this image of jealousy that is sitting in the inner court. The presence of Elohim was there, but it was being ignored. It wasn't being worshipped. It wasn't being recognized because we're caught up in all of the trappings or the religious systems around us. The presence of the Most High is in our midst, is desiring to fellowship with us, desiring to commune with us, but because we're so caught up in the ideas and the mixing of the matters of the nations around about, we don't even pay attention. Continue.
Verse 5. And he said to me, Son of man, lift your eyes toward the north. And I lifted my eyes northward. And north of the slaughter place gate, I saw this image of jealousy in the entrance.
It's even in the entrance of the gate. They're beginning to bring in idolatry. They're beginning to bring in worship of other mighty ones into the very inner courts that are supposed to be set apart for the Most High, into that place of worship, into the very city that the Most High has chosen for him to put his name on. Continue.
Verse 6. And he said to me, Son of man, do you see what they are doing, the great abominations which the house of Yisrael are doing here, driving me away from my set-apart place? And you are to see still greater abominations.
They're driving him away from his set-apart place. In our own desire to worship Yah, are we driving him away because we're bringing in foreign matters? In our desire to worship him in spirit and in truth, are we doing things based off of what the environment around us is doing? And if we are, we're driving him away.
Okay.
Understand that when he says that we're set apart, then we have to be set apart. It's not an option.
Okay.
We often talk about how jealousy comes into a home in the natural state. When a man has an Isha, and Isha has an Ish. When that Isha is then bringing in knowledge, understanding, or likeness of another man, then that's going to cause that man to be jealous.
Okay.
I don't want to find on her nightstand a picture of another man.
Okay.
That's going to bring about some jealousy.
For sure.
But yet, we find that around us in today's society, where they say they want to worship the Most High, but yet they want to bring in images of other mighty ones.
Okay.
I don't want my Isha wearing clothing, and and across the front of it is a symbol or a name of another man.
Okay.
That's going to cause me to be jealous. But yet, we say and claim that we are worshiping and that we give our lives and our hearts to the Most High, but yet we want to wear Nike across our chest and big Nike swoosh mark on our hats.
Mm-hmm.
We have them on our shoes. We have them on our workout attire, trying to look fresh. Maybe even having the audacity of putting fringes around the edges of the shirt. Zits around your waist. Not understanding that you're driving them out because you're causing jealousy, because you're bringing in foreign matters, images of other mighty ones, images of another belief system. Most High was expressing this to Ezekiel. Don't you see what is going on? Don't you understand that you're driving me away? And we want to, and then we struggle and understanding why we don't feel His presence, why we're not gaining understanding, why we're not growing, why we're not experiencing His esteem in our lives. It's because we are driving Him away, because we're bringing in foreign matters. This was happening in the day of Ezekiel as they were in the Babylonian captivity. And in this captivity that we're in, we're doing the same thing. Okay. Many of us have not learned our lesson. Okay. We've not grown. We've not looked into what the scriptures are warning us about, what Torah is teaching us, what the prophets had said that give us understanding so that we can be above this, so that we can be part of what the Most High would consider being set apart. Continue.
Verse 7. Then he brought me to the door of the court, and I looked and saw a hole in the wall.
Again, I'm coming to the inner court, and I see a hole. Continue.
And he said to me, Son of man, please dig into the wall. And when I dug into the wall, I saw a door.
Now, dig into the wall. I'm getting ready to show you something. There's a little hole there because they've done what they could to conceal it, but dig into it because I want you to see something. And when they dug in, and when Ezekiel dug into that hole, he saw another door, another passage, a secret entrance. Continue.
Verse 9. And he said to me, Go in and see the evil abominations which they are doing there.
Something's going on behind this closed door. We see this all around us, these secret societies and secret handshakes and secret things that they wear on clothing, brought right into the places that claim to be serving the Most High. And here, he's brought Ezekiel to the inner court. So he's brought him to the temple. Brought him to the very place that he is supposed to be residing. There. That the people may be able to experience and witness the esteem of the Most High. But there was a secret entrance. Go ahead, dig in that hole, because there's a door behind it. And when you dug in and opened that door, look at all the abominations going on. Continue, read.
Verse 10. And I went in and looked and saw all kinds of creeping creatures, abominable beasts, and all the idols of the house of Yisrael carved all around on the walls.
What does that bring you to mind of? Where do we see all of these different things carved on walls, paintings? Hieroglyphs. They began to drift back into their old ways, drift back into another religious system, a belief system that they picked up out of Mitzrayim. a worship of idols, a worship of creation. Not the worship of the creator, but a worship of the creatures and created things. And they began to put all of their teaching and all of their writings and all of their understandings on the wall. Beginning to display all of the icons, all of the things that would cause them to go into a state of worship of these things. Practices that they should not be practicing. Not in their homes and in their closets, but they brought it into the place of worship.
Leviticus 11 and verse 40. And he that eats of the carcass of it shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. He also that bears the carcass of it shall wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. And every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth shall be an abomination. It shall not be eaten. Whatsoever goes upon the belly, and whatsoever goes upon all four, or whatsoever has more feet among all creeping things that creep upon the earth, them ye shall not eat, for they are an abomination. Ye shall not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creeps, neither shall you make yourselves unclean with them, that ye should be defiled thereby.
When we allow ourselves or get ourselves involved with worship of idols, then we are doing an abomination. Okay. The Most High has laid it out for us in His Torah, and we have to strive and we have to move away from these things. Okay. We've got to strive to be, again, set apart, not doing the things of the nations round about us. I remember it was about a year or two after we come into the walk, talking with another minister that had come out of the church, understanding and knowing who he is. But because he realized all the lies that the church had taught him, he began to start doubting everything, and he started over-doubting things, to the point where he started going back to Egyptology, beginning to look into what the Egyptology calls was that secret knowledge or wisdom teachings. To go into those things and to go and striving to gain understanding according to their writings and not the writings that the Most High has set before him. We have to be careful. I know we've been lied to. I know we have to take a second look. I know that that even the scriptures that we are reading have been tampered with. But that means that we just have to study that much harder to be able to ascertain the true understanding of what is here. But we can't go to other belief systems. We cannot look into other writings or other mighty ones. We've got to stick to ours, the only one that we have.
So we see in verses 9 and 10 in Ezekiel that he dug a hole through the wall and found a chamber where the Yahudites were worshiping pictures of many types of insects, animals, and other detestable things. We look in Deďarim, chapter 4, verse 14. And Yah commanded me at that time to teach you commandments and judgments, that ye might do them in the land whither ye go over to possess it. Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves, for you saw no manner of similitude on the day that Yah spoke unto you in Horeb, out of the midst of the fire, lest ye corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flies in the air, the likeness of anything that creeps on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth, and lest you lift up your eyes unto the Shamayim, and when you see the sun and the moon and the stars, even all of the host of Shamayim, should be driven to worship them and serve them, which Yah has divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. So what they were doing in Ezekiel in chapters 9 and 10 was abomination to the Most High. A lot of the things that people are doing today is an abomination to the Most High. If you're seeking after knowledge that is not knowledge that has been given to us, then you run the risk of bringing an abominable thing out into the open. Knowledge that wasn't given to us. We must be very careful, Yisrael. We must be very careful of knowledge and how we apply it.
Our people are striving to gain more knowledge, and rightly so, because we've been lied to for so long. But are we truly skilled at understanding some of the knowledge that we're getting? Some of us are gaining knowledge that is causing us to error, causing us to believe in things that we ought not believe in, look at places we ought not be looking into. In Torah, he tells us not to look into the matters of these other mighty ones, not to learn about them, not to be speaking the name. Why? Because he's trying to warn us against getting caught up in a system or things that can cause us to stumble. Doesn't mean that there's not going to be those of us that are going to be gifted to be able to handle certain knowledge and understanding. But for the average of us, we need to stay away from this stuff. He has given us all that we need.
Okay.
We have his Torah. We have his writings. We have the prophets. Let's read those things to gain understanding, to find a firm foundation to stand on. But when we try to bring in other matters, when we try to gain understanding from ancient peoples that are not of us, then we begin to get sidetracked. We begin to look into things that we have no business looking into. Practicing things that we have no business practicing. Creating secret spaces to go in to worship in rooms we ain't got no business being in.
Okay.
Read.
Verse 11. And facing them stood 70 men of the elders of the house of Yisrael, and in their midst stood Yahu, son of Shaphan. Each one had a censer in his hand, and a thick cloud of incense went up. And he said to me, Son of man, have you seen what the elders of the house of Yisrael are doing in the dark, each one in his room of his idols? For they say, Yahweh does not see us. Yahweh has forsaken the land.
They've gotten to the point where they think that the Most High is not even no longer seeing what's going on. That he's not paying attention. Understand what is done in the dark is going to be brought into the light.
Okay.
What secrets you're holding in your heart, you might be able to fool me all day long. You're not fooling the Most High.
Okay.
You will be judged accordingly. You have to understand that just because you've been able to pull the wool over my eyes to lie to me because I might not know or understand a certain thing in full, the Most High knows exactly where you got the information from. He knows exactly what your intentions are. He knows exactly what you're doing. You might be getting away with it today. There were 70 elders standing. Those elders, people that were supposed to have the understanding of Torah, understanding of what to do and how to be and how to live their lives according to the Most High, but yet they were practicing secret idolatry in places that they should not do, getting connected with secret knowledge and secret teachings that they should not be involved in. This has caused the Most High to be jealous. These are the things that are sitting in the seat of jealousy, that are causing him to be jealous, that is causing him to turn away from the people.
Proverbs 15:3. The eyes of Yah are in every place, keeping watch on the evil and the good. Ayov 28:24. For he looks to the ends of the Eretz and sees everything under the Shamayim. Isaiah 40:28. Have you not known? Have you not heard? Yah is the everlasting Yah, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint nor grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. Psalms 44:21. Would not Yah discover this? For he knows the secrets of the heart. There is nothing that you can do that the Most High does not see. You can't creep into a closet, dig a hole, go into a cave that's deep enough that he can't see what you're doing. The secret sins that you're trying to hide in your closet, he sees. He knows the origins of the thoughts of your mind. There's nothing that you can hide from him. There's no compartment in your mind where you can hide a thought that he does not see or search out. He knows it. He sees it.
Israel were practicing things that they should not practice. We have secret organizations within the denominational system. People wearing aprons, and people have secret handshakes and secret words that they say. We see it all over Hollywood. We see it all in this country's capital in Washington, D.C. We see symbols and idols everywhere we look. The Most High is telling us not to get involved in these things. There has to remain a remnant that stays pure, that stays righteous before the Most High. Are we seeking to be part of that remnant, or are we seeking to be part of the masses, what everybody else is doing? We're going to find out what happens to them as we continue this study. And we don't want to be numbered amongst them, because we will all be judged. He sees everything that is going on. He knows why you're wearing what you're wearing. Yes, maybe you're not telling me. Maybe you're holding back because you don't want me to find out certain things, because you know that what you're doing is not of the Most High. Might be doing a great job of doing it, but you're not concealing it from the Most High. He sees. This is what he was showing Ezekiel. He was taking Ezekiel to them secret places that they were hiding, behind walls, through doors, through secret chambers, to be able to see the things that are going on behind the scene, that are not out in the open. The Most High has searched you out and found you out for what is deep in your heart. Continue.
Verse 13. And he said to me, you are to see still greater abominations which they are doing. And he brought me to the door of the north gate of the house of Jehovah. And I saw women sitting there, weeping for Tammuz.
Weeping for Tammuz. Esther. Belief systems that they believe in, idols that they're worshiping. Weeping, why? Because it's changing of the season, coming from the spring to the summer. Weeping because the time of their celebration, the time of the immorality is coming to an end, and they have to wait till next year to go back into that celebration of their immorality. We have people weeping from one season to the next in this day and time, looking forward to seasons of immorality, looking for seasons of celebration to other mighty ones. You're going to hear it here in the next month. What spirit are you in? The spirit of the season. Because they're invoking things in to try to bring about a certain behavior or spiritual awakening in their lives. Israel was caught up in some mess. And we're caught up in the same mess to this very day. But are we paying attention? The scriptures let us know. Those that have ears, let them hear. Let them hear. Those that have eyes, let them see. We have to pay attention so that we don't get caught up in all of this mess that's going on around us. They were caught up. The masses were caught up. The multitudes were caught up in things that they should not be caught up in. Doing things that they should not be doing. Worship that they should not participate in. Continue.
Verse 15. Then he said to me, have you seen this, O son of man? You are to see still greater abominations than these.
Greater. He's taking them from one phase to the next. Because all of these things are building upon, and I pray that we are not seeing within ourselves the same thing building up within our own heart, condemning us. Do we have these secret things that we're doing? Secret knowledge that we're practicing? Secret places that we're going that only we can go? We can't let the masses know about it. Why? Because we have to hide from them the true nature of what it is that we're trying to do. Will we find when we look into those places other mighty ones? Or is that what you're hiding? Or is there seasons that you're worshiping? Are you worshiping the creation, what more so, or over the Creator? Ezekiel was bringing these things out, and because they've been brought to his attention. It doesn't mean that we can't recognize why the Most High has put the luminaries in the sky. It doesn't mean that we can't recognize the direction of our homeland.
Okay.
That's not what we're talking about. Because, see, some are going to say, well, because there's secret things that, just because a word secret comes up that somehow we can't participate in knowledge that the world doesn't participate in. Well, yeah, the Most High has some things that he's not interested in telling the masses. Mm-hmm. This is only for my remnant. This is only for those that truly love me. Okay. We saw how Mashiach practiced that. But what secrets are we talking about? What things that are hidden are we talking about? We got Masons in the church. You get in at ground level, you're only going to get a certain amount of information. But as you keep climbing, and when you hit that 33-degree, then all of a sudden you're given information to find out that you've been worshiping Satan all along, worshiping other mighty ones the entire time.
They're not just in the church. Mm-hmm. They're in your government. Mm-hmm. Did you vote? What did you vote for? A war somewhere in a place on a people that we have no business in? The things of government are not the things of Yah. Okay. The secret societies and their motivations are not the motivations of Yah. This country is not our country. Be careful what you involve yourself in because of the traditions of men. Oh, but our elders gave up their lives for the right to vote. Wait a minute. Examine that closely, because what are you voting for? These secret societies are in both parties. Hear me now. What are you voting for? Is it on the side of Yah? Or is it the traditions of man? Mm-hmm. We as a people have to be careful because we've been down this road before. We've seen what comes from idolatry. Mm-hmm. And so we cannot make an idol of this nation or its practices, because the Most High calls us to be set apart. Mm-hmm. That doesn't just mean coming out of the churches. It means coming out of the system, the false system that we are involved in, that this country is involved in. Okay. There's nothing new under the sun. This goes back a long way. This goes back a long way. They're at the gate weeping for Tammuz. If you study mythology, you'll see that all of this idolatry that they were practicing is nothing new. It goes back. It has been going on for a long time. Tammuz was a false god. It's mentioned in Ezekiel that they were at the north gate, women there mourning for Tammuz. This is an idolatrous practice, a detestable thing, mm-hmm. made even worse that it was happening in Yah's temple, in Jerusalem. You can trace this demigod back to Sumerian, shepherd, Dumuzid or Dumuzi. Mm-hmm. Father was the ancient Mesopotamian god Enki, also known as the Akkadian Babylonian, Ea. So this stuff is not new. This goes all the way back to the Epic of Gilgamesh, mm-hmm. and his mother, the sheep goddess. Mm-hmm. in the earlier Sumerian culture. Tammuz was the god of sheep, lambs, and sheep's milk, a pastoral deity in the later Akkadian mythos, and the god of agriculture. So do you see how the things that our people practice got intertwined with other belief systems? That is an abomination to the Most High. Let us understand that this stuff is not new. And so when people begin to bring it to you today, repackaged, don't participate in it. We're to be set apart, we're not to include these things in our belief system or what we practice. Be careful, Israel, what you involve yourself in.
It's not only, you said that, these secret societies have slipped into the church system, but they slipped also into this walk as well, into these camps. There's camps that are out here that are that have leadership that are caught up in this stuff as well. And so we have to pay attention, and God will be very watchful of what is going on around about us, that we don't get caught up in these things. These things, the Most High say, are driving him away. Continue.
Verse 16. And he brought me into the inner court of the house of Yahweh. And there at the door of the Yehezqeel of Yahweh, between the porch and the slaughter place, were about 25 men with their backs toward the Yehezqeel of Yahweh, and their faces toward the east. And they were bowing themselves eastward to the sun.
To the what?
To the sun. To the sun. They were involving themselves in sun worship. And you say, well, don't we look to the east? And yes, we do. And we do look to our homeland. We do look to where our temple was built. They were in the temple.
Okay.
They were in the temple facing the east. Why? Because they were worshiping the sun as it was coming. So this cannot be confused with what Daniel was doing.
Okay.
Because it lets us know that they were in the inner court, yet facing the east, yet looking to that sun, because they were involved in sun worship. It's the same sun worship that is riddled through every denominational system that you can get yourself involved in. Every one of them. You can't hardly look at it, a picture of any of biblical characters without seeing sun worship tied to it. So what are you talking about? Just go look at any of the disciples that somebody that has drawn a picture of a disciple, and you'll see something glowing behind his head. Right. What is that? Sun worship. Okay. You'll look at a picture of the Messiah. Every one of them got a glow behind his head. Sun worship.
Iconography.
So these things exist all around us. You say the Statue of Liberty? No, that ain't the Statue of Liberty. That is the statue of a sun god. And that's why you see them spikes coming off of its head, because that is the sun rays. It is sun worship in this very country. Okay. It's in every aspect around us. And this is why he was saying, come out of her, leave this system alone. We cannot involve ourselves in anything and not have to face or deal with the worship of other mighty ones. It's all around us in every system, every organization, every belief system. So he's telling us to come out of it.
Are you a sorority member or a fraternity member? It's not just in churches. It's not just in your government. It's in education. My people perish for lack of knowledge. Okay. Yet you've gone to school and you've got a pigskin on your wall and you joined a fraternity. Guess what? You pledged yourself to another mighty one when you did that.
That's right.
We have to be so careful about what it is that we do, what it is that we participate in. Because unknowingly, sometimes we are involving ourselves in the worship of other mighty ones.
Okay.
It might seem innocent, but there is a way which seemeth right unto a man,
Okay.
but the end thereof is destruction.
Okay.
Verse 17. And he said to me, have you seen, O son of man? Is it a small matter to the house of Yehudah to do the abominations which they have done here? For they have filled the land with violence and turned back to provoke me. And see, they are putting the branch to my nose.
They're putting the branch to my nose. That is basically talking about sun worship there. That is a practice that they participated in, where as they are looking and praying to the east as the sun is arising, to put that branch up to their nose, and the Most High is saying, you're doing it to me. You've brought me into this mess. You've caused me to have to deal with this worship because you've brought it in to my inner courts, to the place where I'm supposed to dwell. To the place, and he says, and the scripture says, while they were in there, the esteem of the Most High was there. Because it's there, you brought him in, you've involved him in that. We've got to stop this. We've got to move away. We've got to come out of this Babylonian system that is causing our demise, that is causing us to drive away the Most High. Continue.
Verse 18. Therefore I shall indeed deal in wrath. My eye shall not pardon, nor will I spare. And they shall cry in my ears with a loud voice, but I shall not hear them.
He's going to deal with us in wrath. Deal with all of those that are participating in all of these matters, these four matters that are not of the Most High. Don't think you're not going to get dealt with. Okay. You will be judged. He's letting you know, I'm seeing it all. I've brought my prophet to see and to understand everything that's going on around. These things, yes, they're hidden from my prophet. But I'm going to expose it to him, and I'm going to show him so that he can see all of the things, the corrupt things that are going on round about, so that you'll understand why this judgment is going to fall upon these people.
Okay.
Why this wrath is getting ready to be poured out, it's going to be revealed to you so that you'll understand. Mm-hmm. We need to understand for ourselves today, because wrath is getting ready to be poured out upon this nation and those that are participating alongside of it. It's not going to be a mystery to us. It's not going to be, oh, what's going on? Now we know, because the same thing that they're talking about, we can associate and see in this very day. Okay. There's nothing new under the sun. The same thing that is being exposed here, it's been exposed in the very system and the very lifestyles that we live today. So when wrath is poured out, don't look around and say, what's going on, but we know. Let's go back to chapter 8. Let's revisit that and read. Why? Because the same thing that's going on today was the same thing that was going on here. And what does the Most High say? My wrath is getting ready to be poured out, and I'm not going to spare any of them. I'm not, it's going to be poured out. I'm not going to have any mercy on them. Everyone will pay the price and to pay the cost for following after other mighty ones. You're not exempt. We sing the song, just because you're a Hebrew, don't get you into the kingdom. Okay. You can be a Hebrew going after other mighty ones. You can be a Hebrew doing things that you ain't got no business doing. So don't just take the pride in the fact that the Most High done revealed to you who you are. He's revealed to who you are so that you can get yourself straight because you're under covenant.
That's right.
Okay?
But how many leaders are out there teaching, oh, you don't have to follow the covenant though. You don't have to be obedient to the Most High. What is causing us to err is causing us to do the very thing that this chapter is speaking of. Because if we don't have any right rulings, commandments to follow, then we're going to go after the very thing that they were going after.
Okay.
Who was he showing was doing this stuff? Very elders. The 70 elders in the court, 24 elders right there, doing this stuff. The people that we're supposed to be listening to. People that we're supposed to be trusting. People that were supposed to have the understanding of his right rulings. So just because they called themselves a pastor, a bishop, or a moray or whatever, what are they teaching?
Okay.
Because if they're bringing us back into idolatry, if they're bringing us back into a system that is bringing in foreign matters, then we need to get out of that mess.
Okay.
Ask yourself why I'm doing what I'm doing. Does it line up with the scriptures? Some of us are saying, I know I'm not doing this right, but until I get all the information to do something else, I'm going to stay right here. What? Stay in mess? To stay in darkness? To stay in sin? Knowingly. Not willing to trust that the Most High is going to bring you out and to show you some things, to bring you into some understanding with your willingness to come out of sin, to come out of the things that we know are not right. Chapter 9.
Chapter 9, verse 1. And he called out in my hearing with a loud voice, saying, let the punishers of the city draw near, each with his weapon of destruction in his hand.
Let the punishers come. Why? Because wrath and judgment is about to fall on your people. Let the punishers be revealed. Bring them out. I done shown you what we're doing. I done let you know in 8 and 18. Therefore, I shall indeed deal in wrath. What? With what? All of those that are participating in all of this mess, this abomination. I'm going to deal with them. You will be judged. It goes on to say, my eyes shall not pardon, nor will I spare them. Mm-hmm. You're getting the information right now. You're looking for grace. You're looking to be pardoned. Ask for forgiveness today before the ones that are to bring in destruction are being revealed.
Okay.
Because at that point it's too late. They're standing before you with the weapons of destruction. The weapons of judgment. Are you going to be in their way? Are you going to be the ones that won't be spared? We got to come out of this mess that was being revealed in chapter 8. Ezekiel was warning. Ezekiel was being shown these things so that when these things begin to happen, when judgment begins to fall, we won't be sitting back asking why.
Right.
Won't be sitting back trying to, figure out what's going on around about us. Judgment is falling on a sinful people, a sinful nation. Right. Continue.
Verse 2. And look, 6 men came from the direction of the upper gate, which faces north, each with his battle axe in his hand. And one man in their midst was clothed with linen and had a writer's inkhorn at his side. And they came in and stood beside the bronze slaughter place.
Stood by the bronze altar. 5 of them had battle axes in their hand, and one had an inkhorn and to begin, to make a mark. To mark the remnant. Because judgment is about to happen. It's about to be poured out. It's about to be meted out accordingly. And this is why it's important for each one of us to know our own heart. Check yourself. Ask yourself why you're doing what you're doing. What you're involved in. Why you make the decisions that you're making. What is in your heart? Because Ezekiel is pointing out the Most High can see it. It's going to be revealed so that we all know what is in your heart. The Most High is a consuming fire. It's going to look into the innermost part of your being.
This isn't the only place in Scripture where we see a mark upon the forehead, is it?
No.
In Revelation, it speaks about the foreheads being marked. Notice the ones that are being marked are men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So there is a side that is righteous, and they're being marked. When you look at this and you recognize this and you think about it in Saud, the Most High has a pattern. What has been done once is going to be done again, and it's spoken about in YehezqЄl or Revelation. So the mark on the forehead, those that are of the remnant, that are sighing and crying and not participating in all these abominations, those are the ones that are marked. Do you want to be marked today? Do you want to be separated from those who are committing abominations today? We should desire to be obedient to the Most High. We should desire to be obedient and undefiled before the Most High.
Verse 3. And the esteem of the Elohim of Yisrael went up from the cherub where it had been to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, who had the writer's inkhorn at his side. And Yahweh said to him, Pass on into the midst of the city, into the midst of Jerusalem, and you shall put a mark on the foreheads of the men who sigh and cry over all the abominations that are done within it.
So these things that I've been showing you, Ezekiel, these things that are been hidden, those that are in the city that understand that these things are going over, that are crying out, that are sighing, that are mourning in their hearts because they know that they are, that the city and the men round about, the leadership round about are caught up in abominations. They're not getting involved with that. They're not allowing themselves to be entrapped by that. But they're praying daily and they're seeking the Most High that they don't fall prey to all of these things that are being taught. These are the ones that are sighing. These are the ones that are mourning in the streets that are saying, come out of her. Okay. To stop these practices. Continue.
Verse 5. And to the others he said in my hearing, pass on into the city after him and strike. Do not let your eye pardon nor spare. Kill to destruction old, young men, maidens, and children and women. But do not come near anyone upon whom is the mark, and begin at my set-apart place. So they began with the elders who were in front of the house.
You can start at home. Everything starts at home. He started right there in his set-apart place, right there at the temple, right there where they came to worship. Let's deal with them first, because these are the ones that have caused the people to go astray. But it doesn't mean that those that have gone, that they have led are innocent. We're going to start with the elders. We're going to start with the mores, the teachers, the pastors, the bishops that are out here teaching this mess, got out here caught up in these abominations, that have brought in this idolatry, that are practicing these things, these foreign matters. We're going to start with them. But then as you go through, you're going to deal with all of those that are not marked. Men, women, children, all those that have given their hearts over to this type of teaching. You will be judged. The Most High knows what's in your heart. Okay. You will be judged. He says, go forth and to kill them. Okay. Judgment is being meted out, is being poured out upon Jerusalem. Okay.
Verse 7. And he said to them, defile the house and fill the courts with the slain. Go out. And they went out and struck in the city.
Defile the house. When you kill them, pile them up in the corner. And then go out into the city and do the same thing. Letting these angels know that, that all of these people that don't have this mark, everybody that's not part of a remnant, everybody that's not trying to be set apart, that's not trying to live a life that the Most High has instructed them to do, take them out. They are falling under judgment.
Verse 8. And as they were striking them, it came to be that I alone was left. And I fell on my face and cried out and said, Ah, Master Yehovah, are you destroying all the remnant of Israel and pouring out your wrath on Jerusalem?
Can you imagine? Body after body is falling. It's like, wait a minute. Am I the only one that's left? Am I the only one that's not giving way into all of these abominations? It always seems to amaze everybody how small the remnant is. Okay. Out of all of the people that were on the earth during Noah's day, only 8 survived. Only 8 made it. And there's probably more people on the earth back then than there is now. Because they were living so long and having so many children. And only 8 made it. Because they allowed the influence of the world to permeate their hearts and their minds. And instead of going after what the Most High desires to be set apart, they went after foreign matters, other belief systems, idolatry, secret societies, fortune and fame, notoriety, brotherhood. You name it, they're going after it. So the Most High went and said, all right, mark those, my people. Mark the ones that are signed. They're crying out, because of all of the abominations that are going on. Mark those. And when you're done marking, no. Everybody that doesn't have a mark is to be killed. Slaughtered in the street. Bodies piled up in the corner of the house. Read.
Verse 9. And he said to me, the crookedness of the house of Yisrael and Yehudah is exceedingly great. And the land is filled with bloodshed, and the city filled with that which is warped. For they say, Yahweh has forsaken the land, and Yahweh is not seen.
They're saying that he's not here. He's not part of us. He's not, he's not in our midst. Often the scriptures tell us to persevere. When the nation around about us is sinning, we often just hear silence from the Most High. Because he sees us as a nation of people falling away. And he's moved away from us as a nation. So the people now then, because of their own disobedience and their own desire to go after it, they're not hearing from him anymore. And because of that, they say, oh, he don't see, he don't hear, he don't know, he's not involved in our lives. So we could just do what we want to do. But you're going to fall under judgment. Okay. The bloodshed was great. So much the prophet, prior to that, the prophet was like, okay, all right, they're going to fall under judgment. I see that there's things going on. But is it only a remnant that's doing wrong? Maybe he thought that most people would have the mark on their forehead. But when when the Melachim went out with the battle axes, slaying all those that were caught up, the prophet was like, whoa, wait a minute. Am I the only one? If all of these people out here, is everyone giving way to all of this? Don't follow the masses. Chances are, if the masses are walking in a direction, they're the ones that are wrong.
Okay.
These mega churches, don't think because there's so much money being poured out and fame and people are running around and jumping and everybody seems to be, truth is not there. Time after time, we've seen it's just a remnant, just a few that were willing to say, you know what, I don't care what's going on around me. I don't care about all the family, friends that I will lose. I don't care about numbers fall to almost nothing. My desire is to follow the Most High.
Okay.
It's not important for me that you look in on me, care about what I do, believe what I believe. My desire is to follow the Most High.
Okay.
Those are the ones that are going to get the mark. The rest will be judged. Now the enemy has a mark as well. Because he always tries to imitate, to bring about deception.
Okay.
We don't want his mark on our forehead.
Okay.
But we want a sign in our hand, and in our minds, in the way we think, the way we go about our life, that separate us from everybody else.
Okay.
That says, I belong to the Most High. I don't belong to the world, to the society around about. I belong to him. Okay. I am set apart to be used of him, to be a light, a salt in this earth.
10. But as for me, my eye shall not pardon, nor would I spare. I shall recompense their deeds on their own head. And see, the man clothed with linen, who had the inkhorn at his side, reported back and said, I have done as you commanded me.
I've done what you commanded. I've done my job. I've pointed out, put a mark on the head of all those that serve the Most High. I've done my job. I'm done. When he reports back, that's it. No more marks are going out. No more opportunity to be pardoned. No more opportunity to get it right. The mark has gone out. Those that are the Most High have been set aside, set apart. Everybody else gonna get cut down in the street.
Okay.
Where do we fall today? What are we striving for? Are we striving to be part of the masses? To get caught up in what's popular out there and these denominational systems? When it comes to following truth, are we saying, well, nobody else is doing it? Why are we doing it? Are you more interested in what everybody else is doing or what the Most High is speaking to you, telling you to do? If he's not speaking to you, are you caught up in something that you need to let go? Have you found yourself in chapter 8 doing things, caught up in things that are an abomination, that are foreign matter? Are you eating mixed bread, defiled food, defiled bread? Where do you stand? You don't have to tell me, because what you tell me can be a lie, and I cannot see into your heart. Only you know that. Only you understand your intention. All I can do is point you to what the scriptures say. And the scriptures say, if this is what we're doing, if these are the things that we're practicing, we will be judged.
Okay.
We will be dealt with. He's seeking to put a mark on our forehead, that we might be set apart. So when destruction and judgment fall upon the nation, you won't be touched. But understand, if we're trying to be like everybody else, the mark is not going to go upon your forehead.
Okay.
And when when the one with the inkhorn reports back, he's going to say, I'm done. I've done what you asked me to do, and I've marked every one of them. The other ones are going to go out without remorse, without pardon, to bring about judgment and destruction upon all that don't have that mark. Shema, you have the last word.
We live in a time where wickedness abounds. We live in a time where people who were trying to steal our inheritance cavort around this place they call the Middle East, which is Northeast Africa, claiming our inheritance. But their behavior does not line up with prophecy. Their behavior does not line up with Scripture. But yet they are claiming and seeking to claim our inheritance. A foolish people that are not a people. Have you been moved to jealousy, Yisrael? By the people, we heard the people that have the curly hair on the sides of their head. We heard earlier that the prophet was picked up by a lock of his hair. That is an identifying marker, Yisrael. He was picked up by a lock of hair. It didn't say he was picked up by a curl on the side. It said he was picked up by a lock of his hair. That is an identifying marker.
Yes, sir. It is. It is.
Seek the Most High so that you know who He is and who you are in Him. Only one people can be His inheritance. He's only known one nation. Don't be fooled by the lies that are being told in these last and wicked days. Don't get caught with your hands doing that which you should not do. Don't get caught with your mind dwelling on idolatry and foolishness, because you will be destroyed. What we do with our hands and what we dwell on with our mind are identifying markers for us as a people. We must keep our minds stayed on the Most High. We must meditate on His Word day and night. We must have His praises upon our lips. Don't go about speaking vain words, words for the sake of words. Meditate on hymns and things that are spiritual, on the Ruach HaKodesh. These times that we live in are growing increasingly wicked. You look over in Tel Aviv, and what do you see? Men with men lying with men, doing that which is unseemly, what is an abomination to the Most High. When you look at what they say is the Wailing Wall, and you see the men there undulating toward the wall, they're committing an abomination to the Most High.
That's right. That's right.
But yet, they have the phylacteries on their head and on their wrists, and they say they're the chosen people, but they don't line up. Something is not adding up here. Something is wrong. Something is very wrong. Those who are the remnant, it's time to rise up and speak the truth that the Most High has given to you. It's time to tell all those multitudes who are standing in the valley of decision about the Most High. It's not too late yet. Repent while you still can, and turn your face toward the Most High to do the things which He would have you to do. Let Him mold you and shape you. He is the potter. You are the clay. Will you inherit eternal life? You won't if you're following after the traditions of men. What are you about to celebrate? Are you planning a Thanksgiving? Are you about to celebrate a Christmas? What is it that you're doing with your hands? And what is it that you're thinking about in your mind? There is a movie that I saw once called Cool Hand Luke. And there was a line in it when he said, I've got my mind right, boss. We have to get our mind right. We have to dwell on the things of the Most High. If we're dwelling on anything else up in here, if we're entertaining any other thoughts and not bringing every thought under captivity, then we're allowing ourselves to be pulled and tugged and dragged back into defilement. We must be set apart in all that we do, in all that we say, in all of our actions, so that we can be blameless and be the ones that are not burnt in the fire. You don't want to be the chaff. You want to be the wheat. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You don't want to be the tare. You want to be the wheat. Let us pray. Abiyah, we say Todah Rabbah for the word that you have brought forth from your Torah today. We will meditate upon it. We will not just be hearers, we will be doers of the word which we have heard today. Help us to keep our mind stayed on you as we proceed throughout these coming days. Help us to build our faith and our emunah. Help us to consider all things and give us the discernment to move when you move and to stand still and see your Yeshua. We ask that you would barak the food which we are about to receive for our physical bodies. You have fed our ruachs with your Torah. And now we ask that you would help us in enjoying your bounty, which we would not and could not enjoy if it were not for you. You kill and you make alive. You own the cattle on 1,000 hills. You provide everything that we need. You provide for the birds of the field. And how much more do you provide for us? We say, Todah Rabbah for all that you have done. Todah Rabbah for all that you are doing. And Todah Rabbah for all that you will do in our lives, in the life of your Yehezqēls, and in the lives of all Yisrael, wherever they are scattered. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yehova bless you and guard you.
Yehova bless you and guard you.
Yehova make his face shine upon you.
Yehova make his face shine upon
And
you.
show favor to you.
And show favor to you.
Yehova lift up his face upon you.
Yehova lift his face upon you.
And give you
And give you
shalom.
shalom. Shalom.